Hi, and welcome to class. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here again. All right, welcome to English language class. Okay, so today we are looking at a new topic, and we are done with our lexics and structure. So we are moving right into oral skills. Oral skills, basically. So what we are doing as from today is the oral skills. Okay, you can call it the oral skills or the oral form in whichever way it comes. Okay, so basically when you talk about the oral skills, that's the phonetic part of English language that most people get confused. They get confused in. All right, but of course, we are going to look at it thoroughly so that you get used to it, even if you cannot master it 100%, because English language is not our father's language. So, of course, there's still going to be some bit of little mistakes here and there, but as much as possible as this examination is concerned means that you will be able to attend to your oral skills thoroughly. All right. So when you talk about oral skills or oral forms, basically you're talking about the phonetic part and we're talking about the sounds majorly. Okay. And I'm sure that we're familiar with the fact that our letters are different from sounds. Okay. Letters are different from sounds, and it's like that in all language. Okay, all the languages of the world, they have their letters, they have their sounds. All right, so this is just English language, and we have our letters. Okay, we have one alphabet in English language. That may shock some of us because maybe what we were used to is there are 26 alphabets in English language, but that's not true. We have only one alphabet in English language, and there are 26 letters of the English alphabet. 26 letters of the English alphabet. So, like I mentioned earlier, we are looking at the phonetic part of English. We call it the phonetic part in this part of the world, and that's what we are majorly going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at everything that we can find under the oral skills or the oral form. We talk about the vowel sounds, we talk about the consonant sounds, and again, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be breaking it down bit by bit so that when you see a sound or when you see a word, you will be able to tell the sounds that make up that word. Okay, so today we are just doing introduction to sounds, and usually when you talk about sounds, people usually start with vowels. So we are also going to be starting with vowels, and as much as possible, pay close attention to all of these that we'll be talking about. Even though it's the introductory part of the oral skills, it's still something that you should not miss. All right. So, like I mentioned earlier, we have one alphabet, and 26 letters. One alphabet, 26 letters, and I'm sure that we are very familiar with these 26 letters right from our kindergarten days. All right, so we have the um, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. All right. So I'm bringing this out so that we can understand where sound is coming from. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, alphabet. We talk about one alphabet, 26 letters. Our letters are very different from sounds. Now, these are the letters. From the letters, we have five vowel letters. Five vowel letters, and we are familiar with them. We are bringing them out. We have A, E, I, O, U. Very familiar with them. So we have A, E, I, O, U. That's the letters. Now, all those letters can be found in English words, but they do not sound the way we see them. Okay. For instance, we have the word or we have the letter A. Okay. A sounds like this. It sounds like A. All right. A. But when you find A in a word like this, you know you're not going to pronounce it as Kate. Okay. You will not say Kate because this word or this letter is A, but the sound is not A. Okay, the sound in this word is not A. The letter we can see there is A, but the sound is not A. So it means that all the letters, all the 26 letters, okay, do not sound the way they are seen when it comes to sound. They are written like this as letters, but as sound, they are not produced the way we see them. Okay, so when we talk about letters, we are basically talking about these 26 letters of the alphabet. But when we talk about sounds, we are talking about how these letters are produced or how they are pronounced in words. All right, now like I mentioned, we are basically looking at vowel sounds. We're looking at introduction to vowel sounds today. All right, that's where we are starting from. And then subsequently, we'll be looking at breaking vowel sounds down. Then we'll be looking at consonant sounds. We'll be looking at rhymes and basically other things. All right, so talking about vowel sounds are speech sounds. Okay, they are speech sounds that are produced without any obstruction in the vocal tract. Okay, when we start looking at these sounds, you will understand what I mean by without any obstruction. Vowel sounds are very easy to produce, they're easy to pronounce because they do not have obstruction in our vocal sound. Okay, in our vocal tract, they do not have any obstructions like consonant. So when we start looking at the sounds, you're going to see the difference between the vowel sounds and the consonant sounds and how there could be obstruction in the vocal tract while producing some consonant sounds. All right. So some consonant sounds can involve some blockage and restriction, while vowels are formed by allowing air to flow freely through the mouth. Okay, so we can say vowels are special letters in the alphabet. They are special letters because they basically help us produce words. Okay, most times when you find a word about maybe 90 to 98% of words will have vowel letters or vowel sounds in them. And that's because it's very easy for you to produce a word when there is a vowel letter, when there's a vowel sound. Now, take for instance, even the words that I've written here. We talk about English language, okay? So we talk about English, looking at English itself. When you look at the letters of this word, we find E, which is a vowel letter. We find I, which is also a vowel letter. Now, imagine if you do not have these vowel letters in this word, you're going to have something like, okay, now produce this word, and then you will be confused because you don't know how to correctly produce it. It's going to be sounding like something like gush, okay? But with the vowel letters and the vowel sound, okay, you can easily pronounce English. Same go for other words. There are only maybe some specific words that do not really have, that do not incorporate vowel sounds into them. Those words are special ones. All right, but for most of the words found in English language, there has to be a vowel sound for easy production. All right, that's why we call them special letters in the alphabet that help us make words. So they are basically the art of pronunciation because at least every English word should have at least one vowel in them. All right. So we're going straight into vowels. Okay, vowels. And when we talk about vowels, like I mentioned, vowel letters are five. Okay, vowel letters are five, and that is A, E, I, O, U. But for the vowel sounds are not five. Vowel sounds are 20. Okay, so vowel sounds are 20. Again, we are going to be seeing the difference between letters and sounds. We'll be seeing the difference between letters and sounds. Okay, letters are just five, and out of those five letters, we bring out 20 sounds. You can see how beautiful sound is. Okay, so we are bringing out 20 sounds out of five letters. Please do not forget that I said that we're going to be breaking it down bit by bit. Most likely when we were learning sounds, we just see some things being written like it looks like something that is probably not English. You're probably going to be wondering what is this? What language is this? For instance, I pronounced the letter A and I wrote it as this. Now, when you see this, when you see EI, the letter A is not going to come to your head first. And that's the same for sound. Okay, so for the letters, we have five letters, but from those five letters, we are going to be bringing out 20 sounds from those five letters. Now, vowels are divided into two. Okay, they are divided into two parts. Okay, and we call them the monophthongs and the diphthongs. Monophthongs and diphthongs. Okay, so vowels into two parts. We have monophthongs and we have diphthongs. Monophthongs and diphthongs. All right. For monophthongs, we call them pure vowels. Pure vowels. All right. And just like we can have mono, which means one, and we have die, which means two. It means that monophthongs are made up of just one sound. Okay, so we call them pure vowels. Monophthongs are made up of just one sound. We are still looking at vowels, but under vowels, like I said, we have two different types. We have the monophthongs made up of one sound, and we have diphthongs made up of two sounds. Okay, so the two sounds are merged together to become one. That's what diphthong is. So when you hear monophthong, you're talking about one pure vowel. And when you talk about diphthong, you're talking about a mixture of two sounds. So monophthongs are 12 in number and diphthongs are 8 in number. That's why we have 20 sounds. So monophthongs are 12 in number, diphthongs are 8 in number. So remember, we are doing an introduction. So basically, we just need to get ourselves familiarized with the structure of vowels before we start looking deep into how they sound and some phonemic transcriptions. All right. So once you understand that there are 12 monophthongs and there are 8 diphthongs, anywhere you see them, you will be able to tell that, okay, this is a vowel sound and this is a monophthong. When you hear a word or when you see a word, you will be able to tell if a letter is producing a monophthong sound or a diphthong sound. So in your examination, when you say the word and you pronounce the word, you will be able to tell if a vowel sound has a monophthong or a diphthong. So all the options that we follow thereafter, you only need to be looking for a monophthong sound if the word that was given to you has a monophthong sound. And I already thought about the tips and tricks of examinations. There are usually times that, okay, out of 4 options, you know that 2 options are wrong. two options are basically wrong, and then you have two options left, so you have to battle between the two options which is right. So once you're able to tell the difference between monophthong sounds and diphthong sounds, and you see your options, if you're supposed to choose monophthongs and you're seeing two diphthong options, you know that two diphthong options are not part of your options. You need to look at for the monophthongs. That's why we are doing all this introductory part of vowel. So we are going to be looking at this sound, starting with the vowel sounds. We are still introducing. We are going to go deep into them in the subsequent class. All right. So I'm wiping off the board so that we can start looking at the monophthong sounds. But do not forget, I said vowel letters are 5, A, E, I, O, U, but vowel sounds are 20. Vowel sounds are 20. All right. So the 20 are divided into two: monophthong, which consists of one sound, and diphthong, which consists of two sounds. All right, a mixture of two sounds that come together to become one sound. So we are looking at the 20 vowel sounds, and we are starting with monophthongs, which are 20, which are 12 rather. All right, so we have monophthongs. Okay, monophthongs. And like I mentioned, we have monophthongs one. So one sound, or we call it the pure vowel. Now, for it to be very easy for you, I'm going to put out the vowel letters, because I told you that it's from the vowel letters that you bring out the sounds, right? So if you are bringing out the sounds and you're very familiar with the vowel letters, then the vowel sounds are not going to be a problem to you at all. All right, so we have the vowel letters, five of them: A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. Now, from our monophthongs, we are going to be bringing out 12 sounds from these letters. Okay, 12 sounds of monophthongs from these letters. So if you're familiar with A, E, I, O, U, then let's just move straight into our sounds. All right, so for monophthongs, you have two types again. Okay, two types of monophthongs. All right, you have the long and the short. Okay, you have the short sound and you have the long sound. You have the short sound and you have the long sound. All right. Now, whenever you see a sound, okay, in English language, once you see something like this and there's a symbol written in it, then it means this is a sound. Okay. So sounds are written like you have a slash, okay, you have the sound, and there's another slash. Okay, so short sounds do not have the full colon. Remember the symbol of the full colon? We did it in the punctuation class. This is full colon. So long sound, wherever you see a sound that has a full colon after it, it means it is a long sound. Okay, so long sounds are characterized by full colon. You see a full colon. Okay, so short sounds do not have full colon, but long sounds have full colon. All right, so we have short sounds and we have long sounds, and all of them can be found from the A, E, I, O, U letters. Now let's start with our A. So the letter is produced as A, but the sound that's going to come out of it is not produced as A. So we can have something like the first one. All right. So this is the short A sound. The sound is uh, uh. That's for the short A sound, and it's coming from the letter A. Okay, uh, uh. All right. Now, the second one we are bringing from it is also from letter A, but it's a long sound instead. Now you have this. So it's R. So long sounds are produced longer than the short sound. Just like the sound, when you say something is short, it means it's basically not long. Okay? It's not long. So long sounds are produced, you elongate them when you produce them, but short sounds are not elongated when you produce or pronounce them. Okay? So you have and R, and R, and R. That's the difference between the two of them. So one is short, the other is long, but both are produced from letter A. Okay, so letter A is giving us two sounds that we know of at this moment. Okay, two sounds. We have the short R sound and we have the long R sound. Now we move to number 3. Okay, and we have letter E. So letter E is giving us S sound, the short S sound, and we have the long S sound. So the short S sound is produced as while the second sound for E, letter E, is pronounced as er. Okay, so we have and and when we start looking at examples, we are going to get the difference between the two. But for now, I want us to just bring out the sounds from the letters. Once you're familiar with the letters, then the sounds are going to be very easy to follow. All right. So we've been able to bring out 4 sounds from letter A and letter E. Okay. Now we move to the 5th sound. The 5th sound is letter I. Letter I. And your I is producing the sound E. E. So we have short E, and we have the long E. All right. So we have E and E. Okay. Now, letter E is pronouncing the air sound, while letter I is pronouncing the E sound. Okay. Do you get the trick now? So letters are produced differently from sound. That was what I was trying to explain to you earlier. So letter A is giving us the sound R. Letter E is giving us the sound E. Letter I is giving us the sound E. Now we move to number 7, all right, and we have letter O. Letter O. Now letter O is giving us the sound or. So we have the short or, the short or sound. It's written like this or like this. Okay, it's written either ways. That's the short or sound. All right. Now the long or sound is this. Okay, the long or sound is this. So letter A is giving us the sound or or. Okay, then we move to number 9 and we have letter U. So letter U is giving us the short U sound written like this, and number 10, the long U sound. The short U sound and the long U sound. Now we have 2 more sounds to complete the monophthong. Now you're going to be wondering where the sounds are coming from. Okay, there are 2 extra sounds that are not easily detected from this A, E, I, O, U. Okay, but they are still part of the monophthong because they are just pure vowels. All right, so we have a sound that looks like a V that is upside down. It looks like a V that is upside down. Okay, now this sound is found or is produced, okay, from the sound R and U. Okay, so it's produced as it's as if you're pronouncing R and U together. Okay, all right. It's as if you're pronouncing R and O together. All right. Now we're talking about this sound that looks like V that is upside down. Okay, we've been able to bring out 10 sounds from A, E, I, O, U. All right, that's like two sounds each from A, E, I, O, U. But because we said our monotones are 12, that means there are two extra sounds that we need to look for. Okay, the sounds okay, the sounds are 12 in number. Sounds are 12 in number, and then we've been able to get two sounds each from the letters A, E, I, O, U. So we need two more sounds. The two more sounds, one of it is the one that looks like V that is upside down. All right. And like I mentioned, it's a combination of two sounds. It's as if it's pronounced like the combination of two sounds. It's as if you're starting with the letter R and you're finishing it with the letter O. So not U instead, but R. Okay, the sound R. Okay, so when you pronounce it, you're pronouncing R and O together. So it sounds like O, R. So you're not saying R and you're not saying O. So you're saying R. You're saying R. Now, there could be some confusions between this sound when we start producing this sound. Some people can't tell the difference between they can't tell the difference between the short sounds and the long sounds. But looking at the examples, like I said, the short sounds are not elongated when produced, but the long sounds are elongated when produced. The long sounds are elongated when produced. All right. So basically, you elongate even in words. When you find these words, you are going to elongate them. If there is a long sound in a particular word, it means that the word or that sound has to be elongated in that word. All right. And basically, I mentioned that we're just looking at the introductory part. So from the subsequent classes, we're going to be diving deep into these sounds, how they are correctly pronounced, and how you can tell the difference between the two sounds, the long and the short sounds. All right. So for number 12, the sound that we are looking at is called, or is usually called, the schwa sound. The schwa sound, and it's written like this. Schwa sound is written like an E that is written upside down. So you call it the schwa sound. And the schwa sound, basically, for grammarians, okay, the schwa sounds can actually kind of replace some vowel sounds. All right. The vowel sound, that schwa sound is not a very strong one. It's not a very strong vowel sound. So it can basically replace some vowel sounds in some words. Okay. So it also sounds like uh. It sounds like okay, the sound okay. So you can find words like about. It's a weak sound, a very weak sound. Just like you find R, you pronounce R as R. Okay? So when you pronounce the word cat, you can basically hear the R sound in cat. So you're producing cat, basically cat. But in schwa sound, you can find a word like about. Okay, about. And when you are producing the R sound in about, contrary to what many people will call it, when they say maybe about or about, that sound, that first sound is not is not really is not projected because it's a weak sound. So you say something like about. The bout is sounding more or comes out more than the first sound, than the short sound. And that's why it's a weak sound. So you have words like about, round. So when you hear it, when you hear the native speakers speak and they're producing words like this, instead of hearing about, you probably hear something like bout, because the sound, that one that we would call the R sound or the schwa sound in the word about, is very weak. So that's what the schwa sound is. Wherever the schwa sound is appearing, it means the sound there is low. It's pronounced as R, but very weak. You're not producing it strongly. So anywhere the schwa sound is appearing in a word, just know that that sound is is not silent. There's a difference between silent sounds, all right? There's a difference between silent letters and weak sound. Schwa sound is a weak sound. It is produced, but it is not produced strongly, unlike the other sounds. The other sounds that we have, all the other monophthong sounds that we have, are basically produced strongly. So you produce them very strongly, unlike the schwa sound, which is pronounced in a weakly manner. All right. So we have been able to look at 12 sounds from 5 vowel letters. We've looked at 12 monophthong vowels from 5 vowel letters: A, E, I, O, U. All right, A, E, I, O, U. So we have A producing or giving us the R sound, both the long R sound and the short R sound, both the long R sound and the short R sound. All right. Now we have letter E giving us the air sound. All right. And please, like I said, pay attention to how it is written so that you know where the sound is coming from. Okay, we have A, but the short is written as small letter A and E together. Small letter A and E, small letter E together. Okay, it's just one sound and it's pronounced R. That's the short sound, R. All right. The long one is written as small letter A with a full colon. And I mentioned that anywhere you see the full colon in the sound box, it means that that sound is a long one. So we have our short R sound, and we have the long R sound. And from letter E, we have the air sound. The air sound. So your air sound is written as small letter E for the short one, and for the long one, you see something like number three and full colon. Number three and full colon. That's for the long air sound. So you have the short air sound and you have the long air sound. Then you have the letter I, which is giving us the sound E. E. So the E sound, the short E sound is written as it looks like a capital letter I, a capital letter I. Okay, it's not written very boldly, but it's written like a capital letter I. That's the short E sound. Okay, the short E sound. And the long E sound is written as the normal I with full colon. The normal I with full colon. Normal I with full colon. So we have letter O that gives us the sound or. Letter O gives us the sound or. Okay, and then we have the short or sound that looks like the C, a C that is upside down. It looks like a C that is upside down, or you can see it as something like an incomplete D. It looks like an incomplete capital letter D. So that we are doing this so that when you see your letters, when you see this sound, maybe you are provided with sound or short or, okay, short or, and then you have options that, okay, choose the word that has this sound in it, okay, and you're given court, right? You're given cat, and you're giving some other word, you will know basically that this sound is a short or sound, and you're going for a word that has the short or sound. Okay, so that's what basically we are looking at here. So we have the or sound. When you have the short or sound, it may come like this or like this. Anyone you see, both of them are the short or sound. The long or sound is looking like C that is upside down with a full colon. A C that is upside down with a full colon. A C that is upside down with a full colon. All right. That's what the letter O has given to us. Then the letter U has given us sounds oo. Oo, that's the sound. Oo. The letter is U, but the sound is oo. Okay. The sound is oo. So we have the short sound oo that's written like this, the short sound oo that is written like this, and we have the long sound oo that is written like U and full colon. U and full colon. U and full colon, basically. Then the two extra sounds that we have is the V that looks like it's upside down and it's pronounced as a combination of R and or. So it's as if you're producing R and or together. R and or is as if you're producing them together. So you have R, R. Okay. Then lastly, you have the schwa sound. You have the schwa sound, which is a weak sound, and it looks like an E that is upside down. It's produced like an R, but it's very weak. Produced like an R, but it's very weak. All right. So that's what we have under the monophthong sounds. In the next class, we're going to be looking at what diphthong is. All right. So we'll be looking at the sounds, diphthongs, and then we move straight into some other things. So, but for today, we have just introduced ourselves to monophthongs, which are 12. Diphthongs are 8. We'll look at them subsequently. All right. Monophthongs are 12, and we've been able to bring out the 12 sounds from the 5 alphabet. So when you see your A, E, I, O, U, just know and remember that A is producing two sounds, E produced two sounds, I produced two sounds, the same for O and U. That makes 10 sounds. And all of these letters are producing both short and long sound. So you just need to be able to tell which is which, and you know that your letter A is producing R sound, letter E is producing air sound, letter I is producing E sound, letter O is producing O sound, and letter U is producing U sound. So it's now left for you to determine or to decide which is short sound and which is long sound. All right. So that's what we have for the monophthongs, um, pure vowels. All right. 12 of them. So we're going to be looking at a question, a past question to just help us determine, even though this is just an introductory class, we are still going to look at a past question to help us determine or to see what we are going to be doing in the oral skills class. All right. So this question is from 2011. Okay, I'm going to be wiping off the board now. Okay, 2011 oral skills. All right. Okay. So this question says, choose the option that has the same vowel sound as the one represented by the underlined letters. By the underlined letters. Okay, so basically E and A were underlined. E and A were underlined. Okay, so we can see these words. We have the word being, then we have options. We have option A as miss, we have option B as train, we have option C as yield, and we have option D as earn. Now, like I mentioned, when you come across external examinations like this, usually they are going to give you options that you will know that this option is not part of the options. It's not part of the options that you are looking at, or the part of the options that you are looking for. Okay, so you have the word is produced being, or the word is pronounced being. Now you have option A as miss. We are looking for the same vowel sound. So it means both of them has the E sound, being has the E sound. Now we only need to determine whether it is the short E or the long E. Okay, but we know that it has the E sound. Both has the E sound. Okay, miss also has the E sound. We don't know whether it's the short or the long one. Now train, okay, does not have the E sound. It has the A sound. And remember, when I transcribed letter A, I said it's something like this. When we do diphthong, we are going to see what this means. Okay, so train has the A sound. It has the A sound. Now we have yield. Okay, yield. Remember, beans has the E sound. Miss has the E sound. Okay, yield also has the E sound. Train has the A sound. Yield also has the E sound, but we don't know whether it's the short or the long. So this is option, this is the word. This is option A, option A. This is option B. This is option D. Now, option D is produced as earn. Earn. Of course, it doesn't have the E sound. Okay. It has the earn sound. Okay. That's the sound. It has the sound. All right. So if it has the sound, if option B has the A sound, it means option B is wrong. If option D has the sound, it means option D is wrong. So option D and option B are wrong. So we are looking for the one out of option A and option C, because both of them have the same E sound as the word that was given to us, being. Okay, so if being has the E sound, we only need to determine what E sound does being have. Is it the short E sound or the long E sound? The short E sound or the long E sound. All right. So there are some things that we are going to be treating, and I will be teaching us subsequently in the other classes, on some tricks and tips to recognize short and long sound. Okay, short and long sound. But for now, being, the word being has the long E sound. So being, okay, has the long E sound. So it means from option A and option C, whichever one has the long E sound, whichever one has the long E sound is the one we are looking at. Whichever one has the long E sound is the one we are looking at. Okay, so since being has the long E sound, now okay, miss in itself has the short E sound. And like I mentioned, we're going to be looking at differentiating between the long sound and the short sound. Okay, so miss has the short sound while yield has the long sound. So back to our question that says choose the option that has the same vowel sound as the one represented by the underlined letters. Okay, so the underlined letter is EA, but it's giving the sound long E. So the correct one is yield because it has a long E sound. So miss is also not part of it. So from this question, we see that option C is the correct option. So this question, like I mentioned, is from 2011. 2011. And like we've been saying, on the A1 Tutor app, you have the CBT where you can practice for free. All right. Just look for the UTME session and look at the exam year. All right. This is 2011. You can see some under 2010, 2011, up to whichever one you want to do. And just go under the oral skills part, the oral skills section. It's usually the last section of the examination. So you see the vowel type, you see the consonant type, and then you're going to see questions like this. So this is basically under 2011. All right. So yeah, so we have come to the end of the class for today. And if we're going to do a quick recap of what we've done, we did English, we started with understanding English sounds, looking at vowels, all right? And I mentioned that English language has one alphabet for 26 letters. English language has one alphabet and 26 letters, all right? So, and we have under these um, under these letters, under these 26 letters, we have vowels that are five letters out of the 26 letters. So from these five vowel letters, we have the sounds. And I did mention that sounds are different from letters. The way letters are written, they are not produced like that as sounds. The sound is different. And you can see from the way, even from the question that we treated here, being the letters we have are E and A. E and A, but they are giving the sound E. They are giving the long sound E. All right. So that shows that letters are different from sounds. It means that two letters can make up one sound. It means that three letters can make up one sound. Sometimes even four letters can make up one sound. All right. So letters are basically not sounds. And then we mentioned that for the vowels, we have two types. We have the monophthongs and we have the diphthongs, the monophthongs and the diphthongs. And I mentioned that when you hear the word mono, it means one. That means the vowels under monophthongs are just one pure sound. All right. So monophthongs are just pure vowels and they are 12 in number. I mentioned that 20, we have 20 vowel sounds. Okay, these 20 are divided into two monophthongs, okay, and they are 12, then diphthongs, which are 8. And then we started looking at the monophthong sounds, which are 12, and then we were able to bring them out from the five vowel letters A, E, I, O, U. And I mentioned that A produces two R sounds, the short and the long, okay. E produces two air sounds, the short and the long. All right. I produces two E sounds, the short and the long. Then O produces two O sounds, the short and the long. Then U produces two U sounds, the short and the long. Then there are two extra sounds, all right? The V that looks like it's upside down, that is produced, that's like a combination of R and O, and then the weak sound schwa that looks like an E that's upside down, basically, all right? So these are what we have been able to look at today, all right? So I'll see you in the next class, all right? Bye bye.